Nigeria's Independent National Electoral Commission has denied changing election coalition procedures. Also on the breakfast, do you know that around 1.3 million people die globally each year from road traffic accidents? We'll talk about road accidents and the risks of thrombosis today on the breakfast. We'll also have in-depth analysis of today's national dailies, and we call it Off the Press. Thank you for joining us on the breakfast. I am Messi Boko. It's a beautiful Monday morning right here. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. As always, we start off our conversation with top trending, and this morning, a former speaker or former member of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, has petitioned the Inspector General of Police over an alleged threat to his life. Yakubu Dogara actually informed the Nigerian police force that his life was under threat by some men of the police force. And to be very frank with that, the Commissioner of Police had also confirmed, the report. It's been said that some suspects were arrested, and they have actually, or he has actually confessed, to his intention of wanting to kill Yakubu Dogara. But one of the things that was being said is that, if you're guilty, it wouldn't be just easy for you to just agree to it and say, hey, I'm guilty. But most importantly in this particular story or this particular report, what's important here is, the rifle, because there's a situation where you have, a rifle that's been sold out. Someone's about to get a rifle that'll be used to kill Yakubu Dogara. Now, the commissioner also has, confirmed the particular report. Of course, suspects have been arrested, and there's a confirmation that, there's a threat to the life of a former member of the House of Representatives, if I'm not mistaken, or former Speaker of the House of Representatives. He was a former Speaker, Dogara. And so the moral or the crux of this conversation is, it's a good thing that the report has been made, and the relevant quarters, that's the police, has started an investigation, and there are reports that, one suspect was arrested for planning to assassinate Dogara. But however, what we should not forget is about, the issue that he talked about, a rifle that was missing, because the connection is that a rifle was being sold, and who was selling the rifle, was a police officer, and he was arrested. And there's a lot, the stories are actually not very clear, but it's also been stated that there was an intent, or someone was apprehended in the process of trying to sell some rifles. The commission has also asserted to the fact that, yes, in the armory, there are some rifles that are missing. Apart from the two, they also recorded that, yes, some rifles, two of them, but apart from that, there are still more. So it brings us to the conversation of, the report of the Auditor General of the Federation in 2019, that's 2019, that revealed that, there's a disappearance of 178,459 pieces of armament from the armories of the Nigerian police force without any form of report of their whereabouts. That's it, really. So at the time where we're awash with, insecurity, crime and criminality, bandits, that report was in 2019, and up until 2022. There's no report, however, that says that we have been able to account for this armament or this, guns that are out there. Different kinds of guns, if you want to go, the AK-47s and what have you. 178,459 of it out there, and there's no account for it. It's just really, really worrisome, and it's very terrible, especially at this time where we're facing a lot of insecurity in our country. Why have we not been able to make any sort of recovery of that? And so, well, in the end, apart from the conversation, because a lot of persons have also said, hey, we know that there's also, smuggling of guns into the country. But what also happens to the one that those who are supposed to protect us, are also in the trade or in the business of putting out these arms? Because you can't tell me that, the monkey or the snake or the python or the gorilla took these guns out. Really. But shouldn't we have a police force that should be on top of their game, where there should be some review on a daily basis of, the amount or the number of armaments that you have in the armory. And that should be reviewed every other time. How can we just be very, careless about it? Because that's what it seems. How can you not care about it? We should have, the police or the security. I mean, it's a body that's saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that, there's peace and order in a civil dispensation or a civil society. And so one will be thinking that the police should be on top of their game, ensuring that there's always a review on a daily basis, maybe an hourly basis, from every 1 hour. I don't know how, but one is thinking. You can't just wake up and say, you don't know. You have to wait for the tip-off before you now say, oh, really? Yeah, I think we don't have like 2 or 3 armaments in the armory. It's quite sad. But we can only hope and put our fingers crossed or cross our fingers and anticipate that things will definitely get better. Oh, from that, another one on top trending is that police rescue suspected kidnappers from angry mob in Delta State. That's it. If not for the intervention, of operatives of the Delta State Police Command, where you have 2 suspected kidnappers, would have actually met their Waterloo in the hands of a mob. And that's what we call jungle justice. That happened in Warri, the area of the state. Okay, so it happened in Warri. Now, the suspects, 32-year-old OT and one Amos, were facing the prospect of a jungle justice, just like I had mentioned earlier on. And you know how it can be when people apprehend those who are, causing havoc. You definitely just find a crowd pouncing on them or descending on them. But it's quite different from, the regular, and that's why it's very commendable of these police officers who actually help in the rescue, because there are situations where not to even say that you as a police officer gets into the scene and they'll be like, let these guys be wasted, let the people go ahead. We might not want to agree with that, but these are things that happen on a daily basis. And it just shows that, hey, it's a plus that the law should always take its course. We cannot take the laws into our hands. Everyone is innocent until being proven guilty. I'm sure that a lot of people are not really interested in that particular line of saying everyone is innocent until being proven guilty, because how do you say you're innocent? You're being caught red-handed. And the law says they have to be tried, they have to be evidence, they have to go through the process. And people over time have resorted to jungle justice because they have lost trust in the system of justice. They've lost trust in policing system, and they think that justice can never be served. And that's why people take laws into their hands. But hey, no matter what the situation is, it's not in your own capacity to take laws into your hands. If not, you'll be committing another crime. Let's also, continue to encourage that the law take its course. And we must say that the police officers who were around and who rescued these kidnappers from being attacked by this mob did a great job, and we commend that, and we say it's laudable, and we hope that this practice continue every other time with everyone until we get to a point where we can be proud of our justice system and the policing system entirely. But another thing is that, the kidnapped victim, or the victim that was kidnapped, was rescued prior to the confession that was made by these kidnappers, and we must say it's a good one. Away from that, following the strike action that ASU has been on, on the 14th of February up until this point, it's quite interesting that, the university is actually run, you have different groups and strata. So you have administration, you have those who are lecturers. Over the week, we had that the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, they are tagged as SSANU, and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Allied and Education Institution, NASU, suspended their strike actions after a brief meeting with the Minister of Education, Adamu in Abuja. So the suspension is expected to take effect from Wednesday. That's according to Education Minister. The federal government, on the other hand, has committed to making payment of 50 billion naira and allowances for members of SSANU and NASU and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU as well. However, activities of the university has been reported are expected to remain limited. Of course, it will be limited because everyone has a role. It's a system, so you have different parts. It's like saying you have an entire body, and so you have the head, you have the eye, you have the hands, you have the nose, you have the ears. Every part of the body has its function, and so if the ear is not functioning, it therefore means that the ear is not functioning. The eye cannot, perform the function of the ear because the ear cannot hear, but the eye will continue to see. We'll take a track now. When we return, we'll continue with more conversation.
We have taken several days to discuss this issue with the Joint Action Committee of NASU and SSANU, and we have finally come to an agreement that they are going to withdraw and call off their strike because their demands have been met by government. Government has committed a total of 50 billion naira for the payment of unacademic allowances and unallowances. And I think this is part of what they are demanding.
We have decided that this strike of the JAG of SSANU and NASU will be suspended with effect from Wednesday, 24th of August, 2022.
We started this negotiation together because I was seeing NASU NASU and SSANU, and something must start. And this is just the beginning. I believe they will also be calling off their own when they believe government has substantially addressed their grievances.
Having reviewed the situation and also having listened to the pleas of Nigerians, parents in particular and students, and out of our patriotism, and having been satisfied that substantially more than 80% of what we have requested have timelines of not more than 2 months, we feel that it is only proper at this point to yield to the to the callings of Nigerians, and that our members should be assured that whatever decisions we have taken today to suspend this strike, effective on Wednesday 24th, is in the best interest of all of us.
Well, that said, you hear all of the thoughts that's been put out there. The Minister of Education talking about the strike action that's been suspended or will be suspended, SSANU and NASU on that particular one. But a lot of persons, Nigerians have said that different persons with different reaction. Hey, it's an issue of, there's always ASU feeling more superior to NASU and, SSANU and all of that. But like I rightly mentioned with that illustration, every part of the body is very important. But some people think that it's a betrayal on the part of, SSANU and NASU for them to call off the strike without considering ASU and their consent. Fingers crossed. The activities of the university might continue, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, lectures would go on because ASU has not called on that call off the strike. And so the strike action still on. And so activities in the university might just be limited. And that's it this morning on our top trending. We take a break. When we return, it'll be time for us to go through the front pages of our national dailies. Please stay with us.